Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Talking Walking Football with the Cat and Hassan. And
Good
this week
evening.
we've gone on our travels. For the first time, we've ventured out from darkest East Sussex and we've gone west. And we've got a fabulous lad with us tonight. Rod Chinn, welcome to you.
Thank you, Tony. It's lovely to be here with you and my old mate Hassan.
So here's
But
Yes,
here's here's
welcome.
a funny thing. We had Big Mark on here, massive Mark, the other week, and
yeah,
I said to him, Mark, you've played for more clubs than anyone else in the league, but I think we've actually found the journeyman player who will, at the drop of a hat, turn out for anyone. Can you just talk us through it? Your Uckfield is your home club, but you play for other people too.
that's it. Well, have gloves will travel. Consistency is my strength. I can be absolute rubbish for lots and lots and lots of teams. It's guaranteed. Um, Uckfield is also much like yourself, Tony. I'm known as the cat. I believe that you're known as the cat because you can sleep anywhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
I,
right.
I'm known as the cat because as a goalkeeper, I have a tendency to give my defenders kittens. So different reasons, but the same names. And I should also let you know that I shouldn't be ostracised too badly for being in West Sussex because I actually do live in East Sussex. I was born and bred in West Sussex in Crawley, but I escaped in 2000 over to Uckfield.
Oh,
So I actually live in Uckfield, and Uckfield is my if I can use that term, is my main club. And your
yeah,
guest last week, Mark Vincent, is our chairman and a very good friend of mine.
yeah,
And yes, Uckfield is my first club because that's where I was introduced to walking football just over 2 years ago.
right. But
But
so, who else do you play for?
right. Well, it all stemmed from Uckfield. I mean, I
Yes,
can bore you to death later about how I got involved with walking football because I
yeah,
saw it advertised locally, but a few funny things had happened to me before that. And once I started with Uckfield, uh, a friend of mine at Uckfield had moved home to Uckfield from where he was born and brought up, which is Brighton. He's a dyed-in-the-wool Albion fan. And so he maintained contact with his old walking football club, which was Brighton, or is
yeah.
Brighton. And Brighton play in the well-known Worthing tournaments over 60s every month.
Hmm.
And he said to me, he said, another goalkeeper. That's a bit of luck. Our goalkeeper has just changed his work rota and he can no longer play during the day on a Monday
Hmm.
for Brighton in the Worthing tournaments. Do you fancy coming down and taking his place? We don't have a keeper,
Hmm.
which is a phrase I've heard many times since. So I said, well, that sounds like great fun. Yeah, I'll come down with you. So he rang up the manager at Brighton and says, yeah, I've got another keeper to come in. So I went down to Worthing, played for Brighton in the Worthing six-a-side, absolutely loved it. A whole new world had opened up to me, competitive football. My goodness gracious me, I
Yeah,
hadn't done that since I was 16.
yeah.
And there was I at the age of 66 and got to know the Brighton people, all lovely, lovely people. I've ended up now as kind of deputy manager of the team. And also, because I'm 68, I play in the over 70s tournaments for them at Worthing.
Yeah, because they allow slightly younger goalies, don't they?
They
Yeah,
can have you can be slightly younger if you're a goalkeeper again, just to make up the teams because there's not so many daft old buggers once you get older.
yeah.
So that was really how I got involved with Brighton, and also Brighton run a tournament every year, so I've got involved with helping to organise the tournament, and this year it's bigger and better than ever because we're holding it at the Brighton University for 16 teams, and I believe you'll be there with Hastings,
I
and
think we are. Yeah.
Hassan will be there with one of Hassan's many teams. So looking forward to seeing you. Now that's Uckfield, and that's how I got involved with Brighton. But with Uckfield, I'm also the fixture. I'm the team manager and fixture secretary.
Oh wow.
So on this particular occasion, I rang Hurstpier Point to organise a friendly.
Hmm.
I'd been given a list of names of fixture secretaries at different clubs and those within travelling distance. So I saw this name, Abbas of Hurstpere Point. So I rang up and said, "Hello, are you Abbas of Hurstpere Point?" And he says, "Yes, that's me." He says, "Oh, hello, I'm from Uckfield, wanting to organise a friendly fixture with it." "Oh, great." And we started to talk and we started to talk and we started to chat. And you know what it's like with walking football. All sorts of funny little stories were coming up and we were getting on with it. And it cropped up in the conversation that I was an over 60s goalkeeper. And guess what he said? He said, "Oh, we haven't got a goalkeeper. Do you play in the league for anybody?"
Yes.
I said, "Well, no, I don't." I said, "Uckfield are not in the league. Brighton only play in the Worthing tournaments, don't play in the league. So I'd love to come and play in the league. That sounds like fun." He says, "Well, we've got a game next week. Can you play on Tuesday at the Triangle Sports Centre in Burgess Hill?" "Yeah, no problem. That's about a 40-minute drive. No sweat." I packed my gloves up and come over. Went over, played the game. Loved every second of it. It was fantastic. Again, competitive football, 2 halves of 20 minutes. And what a wonderful bunch of people. Hurstpere Point Up. This, again, is another common thing because I've yet to come across a walking football club in Sussex that isn't full of really nice, really great people.
It's funny. Let me take you back one step now, because I can remember when I started, we used to play on a Sunday indoors in a big sports centre in Eastbourne. And I'm pretty sure Uckfield played in that original league.
They did indeed. Yes, you predate me by a few years because I wasn't playing walking football in those days. I'd never even heard of it. But yeah, what I found out what happened was the league that was played down at Eastbourne, I believe COVID put an end to it. COVID put an end to it. And when it was reformed in the way that it is now with the East and Western leagues, Uckfield struggled to get the commitment from enough players to travel to play the games, and also had trouble getting pitch availability at our local on the 3G at our local sports centre because it's owned by the school and it gets very, very busy in the evenings. So effectively, there just wasn't. They couldn't get a team up. They could get a bunch of guys to go down to Eastbourne at that time, and great fun they had. But it fell apart at Uckfield in terms of going out to play competitive football when it changed to what it is now.
I think, hang on, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that they did start off in the Southern Combination League in our league, but then dropped out after a part way through. Is that right?
Yes, I believe that's what happened. Yes.
Yeah. It's a great shame. I mean, you know, are there any thoughts of that they might actually get a team, you know, and enter in the 50s or the 60s, whatever they feel?
Oh, yes, very much there are thoughts because all this happened before I joined. I only joined 2 years ago at the age of 66, not having played football since I was 16. I was a rugby player all my adult life. Well, a rugby player and a runner. So I didn't really know much about football. I mean, I was a goalkeeper at school, but that was a long time ago. And the situation at Uckfield was that I came across what I thought was some quite good players. And I was saying to them, "Do we ever play games against other clubs? Does anyone organise games?" And apart from one traditional game with Bexhill Seniors for over 70s, there was no tradition there of playing games against other clubs at all. So Mark said, "Well, one of the reasons we don't do it is we haven't got a team manager." I said, "Well, I'll do it then." Because back in my rugby days, I was a team manager, coach, head chef, chief cook, bottle washer, president, all sorts of things. So I'd been involved in a lot of stuff. And so I said, "I'll take it on. I'll organise games." So I found out what teams were. I mean, I didn't even know who all the teams were. I didn't even know who Hassan was. Now,
even Hassan doesn't know who Hassan is.
well, you're not the... I don't think I'd ask you, Hassan, but everybody else knows who you are. And
He's amazing.
Now, much to my great pleasure, I know Hassan as well. Yeah. So I found out what clubs were what. I rang round and started organising games against other clubs. And from there, we found that we've probably got enough players to look at entering a team in the 50s and the 60s. And I've spoken to Dave Bridges about it. I'm going to the league AGM. And yes, it is our intention to do our very, very best to enter a 50s and a 60s in the Eastern section.
Yes.
of the league, which
Well,
will bring the
that's
standard
our
even.
part. That's our part of the league.
Yes,
So
well, Uckfield is in East Sussex.
yeah,
So
well, that's fantastic. Now,
yeah.
listen, Rod, here's the thing. I mean, I've done, I don't just lie around just making this stuff up. I've done some research. Aside from the walking football and the rugby and everything else, what's this about you holding national and international rowing records? What's all
Yes.
that about?
Oh well, I'm sort of semi-retired from that now, but I about 20 years ago I took up I mean I'd retired from rugby at 40 and was just running. I was just running 10k races, cross country races. Did run the London Marathon a few times, Manchester
Well,
Marathon. Used to, because my wife is also a runner. She was a rugby player too, and so me and my wife would have city breaks around Europe, and we even ran half marathons in the United States when I would ran all sorts of countries to go running, just kind of good holiday thing. And then in my late 40s, we moved house, and the house was near a gym, and me and my wife joined the gym, and the gym had a pair of rowing machines, two rowing machines. Everyone's been to a gym and seen rowing
yeah, of
machines,
course. Yeah.
and so I sort of looked at it and thought, I said, well, not going near one of those. I've got a bad back from my old rugby injury. Oh, my old rugby wounds. And my wife said, oh, I used to do a bit of this when I went to the gym with the girls that she played rugby with. Go on, come have a go. It'll strengthen your back. I went, oh, all right, then I'll give it a go. So we had a little race and she beat me. And I thought, this isn't fair. This isn't on. But I quite enjoyed it. And we looked up online at races, and I'd heard that there is a British Championship for it. So and also there was an online forum. So we joined the online forum, started talking to people that were involved in the sport, asking about the techniques and coaching advice and stuff like that. And one of the clubs invited my wife to join because they were keen to recruit more women. They weren't too keen on having me because they had plenty of men, and they weren't particularly interested in slow men, which is what I was at the time. But they said, well, since you're married to Carol, that's my wife's first name, Carol, they said that, all right, you can join too. The members of the club were going to the British Championships in Birmingham. So me and my wife went up to Birmingham to compete in the 45 to 49-year-old heavyweight category for me, and the 45 to 49-year-old lightweight category for Carol. I should say that the sport is organised in 5-year age groups, and each 5-year age group has either a heavyweight for men over 75 kilos or lightweight, which is under 75 kilos. And at the time, I was just over 75 kilos. And it's all organised by British Rowing and the Concept 2 company, who are the people that make the machines. So it was all. So we went to this big arena. It was the National Indoor Arena in Birmingham, and I came last. Well, actually, no, I think I was next to last. I think I came next to last, and I nearly fell off the machine at the end. And I thought, this isn't the sport for me. And I looked up at the screen, the big screen at the end, to see what the times were. And I saw the times of the people that were up front. I thought, I'll never be able to do this, never. So I huffed and puffed and went and sat down with the rest of the club. And my wife, who said, well done, well done. I'm saying, don't be patronising, I was useless. And then half hour later, my wife had her race. And you can guess what happened, can't you?
Oh, she won.
She won. She became the British champion. She beat the reigning champion by not very much, but this reigning champion had been winning it for years and years and years. No one had ever heard of Carol because she was new into the sport.
Yeah.
And she came in and boom, she won. Since then, she's won the World Championships 5 times. She said she's won the British Championships. Lord knows how many times, and she set world records and all sorts.
Yeah.
And I was just a nothing. But in my we carried on with it. We rode at the local gym. We rode with the club online. We would go to the British Championships. We go to the English Championships in Manchester at the Manchester Velodrome. Great weekends away with the club. Good parties, good fun. In my mid-50s, I was talking to some people about, I was looking at, because I was changing from the 50 to 54 age group to the 55 to 59. I thought perhaps I could try to do a bit better. So I changed my diet a little bit, managed to get my weight down to below 75 kilos, and competed as a lightweight, not a heavyweight, because I'm only 5'8". As you know, Tony, I'm only a little goalkeeper.
Yeah, but you fit our goals quite well because our
Well,
goals are smaller, so that's a good size.
that's it. But it means I can hit the deck quicker. Getting up's a different story, but it means I'm closer to the ground. Anyway, I lost weight, got under 75 kilos, and became more competitive. Started to work with the coach. Next thing you know, I've won the British Championships.
Wow, extraordinary.
So I've gone from last to first.
Yeah.
And that
Are
got
you
me
a very competitive person, though, Rod? Are you a very
yeah.
competitive person?
Anybody that plays walking football with me these days will quickly see how competitive I am if a goal goes in, or if I'm trying to direct the defenders in front of me, or the howls of anguish that I'm known to let out if a goal goes in that I don't think should. And mind you, any goal that goes in, I don't think should have gone in.
Yeah. We always have that. Hassan, who does that remind you of? Howls of anguish and kicking the posts and everything else. Who does that remind you of?
Oh, Mr. Whitelaw, Howard. He likes to kick. He doesn't just kick the posts and everything else. He's thrown some good tantrums.
Me too.
For such a it's like a split personality when he lets a goal in, or he's kicked the post and loads of times, and I think Raz has done it as well.
Raza does too, yeah. Right there, right there.
I don't know which one of those two is the maddest.
Rod, last year in the third tournament I would have won, you kept us out single-handedly and stopped us getting to the final, and I would have won 3 tournaments. I was beside myself because it was 0-0. It was only 0-0 against your team because you saved everything. And it was the Brighton Penguins against the Little Common team. But yeah, it was a hard one to take.
Because I was making saves that day, I managed to keep my temper.
Yeah, well, that's right. Listen, here's the thing, Hassan, all this rowing. Now, maybe that's something that you could do because you're always moaning about your knees and your back and everything else. Yeah. Is that an exercise that you might have a go at?
I think that if I was not doing the school runs and I was completely retired, that I should go swimming, join the gym. They want me to do the diabetes class, pre-diabetes class. There's all these things they want me to do, but it's just life, isn't it? I mean, I enjoy playing football without thinking. I'm exercising without that side of it. Yet yesterday I went for a walk over the Fire Hills with Peter, and we walked 5 miles, and I was thinking, please, I can't walk back again. And we caught a bus back. And I'm really used to run marathons and everything. But Peter's 70-something, 71, and he was walking and he wasn't even tired. And I thought, I can't do much more of this.
You see, you got the key there, Hassan, because you said you're exercising without realizing that you're exercising. And that's the key for me. If somebody makes me go to the gym, I'm bored, I switch off, I can't do it. But when the football whistle blows and we cross the white line.
Well, it's a different thing then. When the whistle blows, it changes.
Right, so I've got a question for you, Rod, and this really is the nub of why I wanted you on here, because you kind of cross the divide between East and West Sussex. It's in my humble opinion, as they say, for some reason, the teams in the West appear to be much better than the teams in the East. And the perfect example of that was that game in the Cup between Hastings United, the double league champions, and the bottom of the Western Division's Hurstpierpoint the other week. Now, and it was a very, 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 very tight game. Now, why is there a gulf between East and West, Rod, do you think?
I wish there was something obvious. I think it might be down to the fact that there are possibly more clubs in the West because it's more densely populated. You see, Brighton, for example, there's a lot of clubs in Brighton. Brighton is just one club amongst many. There's Old Vardinians. There's Wish Park. There's Montpellier Villa. There's Rottingdean. So there's lots of clubs in that area. Hurstpier Point is in the west, but Hurstpier Point, whilst Hurstpier Point itself is just a village, they play in Burgess Hill, which is a big town, and there's no walking football club in Haywards Heath. So they actually draw from the North Brighton area right up to Burgess Hill, Haywards Heath, and the surrounding villages.
Right.
And they, they've got a massive catchment area. With yourselves down in Hastings, you've got Hastings, and then it's not far away, you've got Bexhill.
Yeah.
So their catchment area is probably the equivalent of Hastings and Bexhill.
Yeah.
And also Battle is just up the road.
Yeah.
But Battle's
but
not
you'd think that
populated. Neither is
Eastbourne. You'd think that Eastbourne and Bexhill, as the retirement capitals of the world, would have the pick. I mean, how many people, Hassan? They've got like 137 registered players in Bexhill, haven't they, for all teams?
Yeah. I mean, I can't put a picture on. I think Eastbourne have got quite a few and set up quite well with their sessions and stuff. It's different. All of our sessions down here, because I play at every one of them, Battle, Eastbourne, Bexhill and Hastings. I think it's all a bit of a flavour of different flavours, that's all. I just think that they have more competitive league structure at Worthing, where they've got so many teams and the way they go about it. And I think Eastbourne, even though they've got a better setup and matches they have on their training sessions, and it does help their pass and move and stuff, I think that they fail to produce the big matches. Hastings seem to have a smaller but do very well in their games. And it's a bit of a mixture, really. We've got talent everywhere, really. I think in the West, there's more pro players that used to play professionally, or I know one player that played for Shaw and Blue, and he played for Charlton, Bolton, and Chelsea. Anthony Barnett. So, I mean, he is a proper player. Me, I'm just a poor boy from a poor family, and I still hear that voice in my head, Hassan, for England. But it's like the other night at Battle, I lost, and we lost 3 or 4-0, and I was up front because they had defenders. But I didn't like losing. I didn't enjoy the game. I didn't enjoy losing. Someone said, "Oh, it should be fun because we're all taking part and all that," and that was just a friendly match, but. There's no fun in losing, especially when it's a team game and if people pass and they move and they pass, but no one was passing to me.
No, but generally people don't pass to you, Hassan. That's not just where you were playing. That's in every game.
I've been accused of picking people. It's not true. I mean, Rod was there when they sent me off at Upfield. I mean, he can fill you in on that one.
I'm teasing you. Rod, how many registered players or how many people have you got, like in the Uckfield WhatsApp group?
It's last count, it was just under 60. Probably.
See, so there we are. Look, Uckfield is a by comparison to Hastings is a tiny place. Yeah. We've only got 38 registered players for Hastings. There's 137 in Bexhill and there's 60 in Uckfield. It's crazy. And also, I don't know whether you know this, Rob, but there's another affinity between Uckfield and Hastings, and that is we have the most dramatic high street floodings.
Yes,
because we get the same thing as occasionally Uckfield get, where the whole of the bottom of that hill is swamped, in 3 directions with the river, and we get the same in Hastings.
Instead of going around the junction in your car, you can do it in a boat sometimes.
Yeah, I know, crazy. So we're right. We've established then, Rod, that you have gloves. We'll travel. You'll go wherever you can get a game. You're obviously asked and that you're a good player, so they want you. I always think actually it's easier for a goalie. Whenever I turn up to any training session, there's an instant sigh of relief from most of them because they think, oh, that's great, we don't have to go in goal.
That's when I first phoned up Uckfield about joining, said, "Do you need a goalkeeper?" That's exactly what Mark said to me, because it was Mark Vincent that I rang. He said, "Oh, we haven't got a goalkeeper. You'll be very popular because it will save us having to go in." He said exactly the same thing. So I don't think it really matters if you're any good or not. They're just happy that someone's daft enough to stand between the sticks for the whole time and think that's what they're going to do.
But there is not a rubbish goalkeeper that plays. I mean, even there's a fella called Seagull in Bexhill, and people take the mick out of him. And Seagull is he's quite a bulky guy. He's lost a little bit of weight. He's quite a bulky guy, and he's not brilliant, but he still makes 6 or 7 saves in a session. And when they do, the crowd goes, Seagull, Seagull. There isn't a rubbish goalkeeper. There's something, I don't know what it is. It's a certain, as the French say, a je ne sais quoi.
I see good goalkeepers regularly. I mean, I played in a tournament yesterday with Brighton at Worthing, and I saw the same faces, and they're all making really good saves. There's a guy who plays for Aaron, and Phil, I'm not quite sure what his surname is. He's 78 years old, and he dives all over the place. He's as safe as houses. He dives hard left, he dives hard right, he stops them straight on. Everything. He is an absolute. I mean, he's 10 years older than me. I mean, if I'm half as good as that in 10 years' time, I shall be delighted.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And you're very good too, Tony. I've seen you play. How someone as big as you can dive as low and as hard and as far as you do. You're Mr. Agile.
Yes, yeah, gravity, mate. That's all that is. The gravity. If I go off perpendicular, I'm going to hit the ground quicker than you because I'm twice the weight.
You don't just fill the goal. You don't just fill the goal. You can dance all over it. Yeah. So
I wish. I remember that our chairman at Hastings, Phil Aspinall, once saying to me when we went indoors to that tournament in Eastbourne, Tom, they'll never score past you because the goals were tiny there because they were like hockey goals. Do you remember? They were quite narrow. They were a little bit taller. And he said, all you have to do is stand there, Tom. And of course, it's not that because, I mean, they can pepper the whole thing. But I remember him saying that. Anyway, look, it's, as they say, not about me. It's about you and always about my friend Hassan. Hassan, you gave us an indication that you've got lots of players. You've got a new goalkeeper for Little Common Wanderers. And everyone is saying that man cannot be over 50. What's his name? Neil. Is it Neil?
Neil, yeah. I can't think of his surname now again. I've got a senior moment because I've been doing the 65s for the National Cup, registering them and getting the dates of birth. But Neil is a fantastic... We was just saying that we needed a goalkeeper and suddenly out of nowhere he appeared.
Yeah.
And he is fantastic.
Where did he come from? Where did he come from?
He lives locally. He used to play running football, like in goal, and he's got a young family. But he's going to be managing the Little Common team next year with a couple of the others. Oh. I'm hoping they stick it and work it out so me and Roger don't have to step in halfway through or a quarter of the way through. I want them to make a success of running the 50s and we can concentrate on the 60s. And as I've been saying, it's sort of giving out, we've done it for a time now, and it's time that it grows in a different direction and that other people get involved.
Yeah.
To revolve and keep growing, you have to be able to delegate jobs out. That's what you said about Mick Davis. He's got no jobs to do now because he's delegated them all.
Delegated everything, exactly. Rod, so back to Uckfield. Is it a definite that they're going to put a team in for next season?
We're just waiting to get the commitment from the players, but we look like. I mean, I can pretty much say yes, it's a definite. Certainly, yeah.
That's fantastic. I think they'll be a very welcome addition. And the other thing is, you see, when you play against the same teams, I find the same teams and the same people week after week after week. You get to know everyone. Yeah, that's great. But you also get to know how they play and where they're going to shoot and where their strengths are. Whereas if you get a team in that not many people know, they got a better chance than anyone else because nobody knows their game.
No, it freshens things up. There's
Yeah,
new faces, a bit of mystery. Oh, blimey, he's good. Oh, and haven't seen that done before,
yeah.
or so on and so forth. We've got some pretty good players, and I think we'll be competitive. Mind you, I've seen some of the teams, and the standard is pretty good. So we're going to have to brush up a little bit, but no, I think it'll be I think it'll be great fun. Also, we look to play friendly games as well. I'd like to. As you know, I run the WhatsApp group for Sussex for organising friendlies as a kind of fixture bureau, and that's been quite successful. I mean, there's always plenty of chat on there. Your videos are on there every week now, so I think the whole competitive structure of Sussex is growing all the time. I'd like to see a Sussex representative team. I'd like to see East versus West games. If it's just a question of finding someone that's prepared to manage it, someone to put the games on. But can you imagine a representative team of East Sussex versus a representative team from West Sussex in the over 60s? We could have two games. We could have the 50s game and the 60s game.
Yeah.
And then the best of those could go on to represent Sussex against, I don't know. Yeah. Surrey seems
like the old sort of county system that used to be. Listen, on that note, we've got to congratulate the Sussex over 60s full speed running football team because they've just won the National Cup.
2-0 against Worcestershire.
Extraordinary.
Yeah,
started by Dave Tasker. One day I still like to run, when I play football. He's a great walking footballer. He's been our top goal scorer last 3 seasons. But he started it, and that's an amazing achievement. Absolutely first class. So
it's first class. Yeah, I know quite a few of their players, and I'm so pleased for them. They're great. I even had a few games with them about 18 months ago, but little old me in those great big goals wasn't very easy. Plus, not having played as a goalkeeper as an adult, this notion this rule that you can't pass it back to the goalkeeper used to catch me out quite regularly.
I tried it one match we played. I can't remember who we were playing. I think it was Norfolk or somewhere. And myself and John McRae did a half each. And I think they scored 4 goals in each half against us. I think we lost 8-2 or something. My problem was that I can't get more than about 4 inches off the ground. So every time they crossed high, if it was above my hand height, I couldn't jump because that's where the weight drags you down. That's gravity working in the opposite direction. It was an absolute nightmare. And I said, I can't stand this because it's bad for my nerves, having goals plastered past me. Hassan, you've never thought of giving running football a go?
I used to play running football when I first moved to Hastings down here, and that was 16, 17 years ago, and I could run then, but I like to play any type of football, and I can hold my own, and I'll say it right here and now, that if I was on the pitch playing on Charlton and they're running rings around me, I can tackle, I can pass the ball, I can read the game, I can step in the way, and I've got the control and the touch. And just take you one step back to East Sussex winning that running football tournament. There was a very humble striker in Alan Osman who scored both their goals.
Yeah.
Correctly.
Well done,
and he didn't big himself up about scoring them 2 goals, but I've been to France with him and he's very fast. And sometimes when he doesn't score, and he plays for my over 60s team, and we had a poor start to the season. But once a good player will always be a good player. Can I play running football? No, I'm a cart horse. They call me all sorts of names, but I can pass the ball. I can tackle. I did join in with them. I get excited when I see running football, and I would like to run, but I think my running football days are over.
Definitely over. Now, hang on. We've also got to congratulate the Bexhill over 68s because who did they beat in that cup match? Was it Bexley?
Bexley.
They beat Bexley in a cup match,
And they
and
haven't been beaten for a long time.
I know, and it went to penalties, and Raz saved all 3 penalties. I mean,
Good
that's
old
just
Raz.
extraordinary.
I,
It
I
almost
said,
brings a tear to your eye when someone like that
I
happens,
said
you
to
know?
Ray, just dive, choose a side, and they're going to kick the ball at you. And he saved all 3 of them. And I did a caricature of him the next day celebrating. And he was so taken back by it. Or I think it was an enormous performance. Henry stood out for me. They all stood out. And it wasn't expected. Everyone was expecting to get thrashed.
Yeah,
Thrashed
it's
after the
extraordinary.
first goal went in. But no, it was
You
1-1.
never can tell. You never can
No,
tell. Well,
football is
look,
about.
gentlemen, we've come to the end of our allotted time. I always say this at the end. If you're watching, anyone that's watching, give us a like and hit the subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything. It just means that the channel gets more momentum. That's all. Rod, I've enjoyed talking to you this evening. Very nice to hear all your sporting achievements. You and Carol, all the best to you both. Hassan, you should be playing for England, mate. I say it every week, but with your skills, Hassan for England would be my shout. So I'm going to say from myself and from Hassan and from Rod Chinn is good night, God bless, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks, Tony. Cheers, Hassan. All the best.
Rod, bye.
Cheers all.
Bye.